that was Henry Ford trying to tell you that whatever you do, just set your mind on the right things, positive things. If you think you can do it, you can. If you think you can't, you're right. So why not just, think you can and then just do it. Welcome to the conversation on TOSTV Network, your digital first from African News Network. As always, the conversation is going to educate, entertain, and enlighten you, with stories and news, from across Africa, with focus on Nigeria. My name is Adesuwa Osuyi, and we'll start with, the show with some news from across Africa as always, starting with this news from Tanzania. The closure of Ukrainian airspace following Russia's military action in the country left some 1,000 Ukrainian tourists stranded in Tanzania's semi-autonomous island of Zanzibar. Zanzibar's tourism minister, Leila Mohammed Musa, said the safety and well-being of tourists is being looked after, and the government is liaising with the Ukrainian embassy in neighboring Kenya to evacuate the tourists to Poland and away from there to Sudan. So for the first time on Sunday, quantum resistant committees, the Sudanese groups leading protests against the October military coup, published a political charter that sets out key demands they hope will unify civilian factions. And then to Somali, where 6 weeks after surviving a suicide bombing, Somali government spokesman Mohammed Ibrahim Mwalimu on Sunday won a seat in the House of the People, that's the lower house of Somalia's bicameral Parliament. And that's it for stories and happenings from across Africa. I'm bringing you COVID-19 update from across Africa right now. And after that, we'll be going straight into the big story. You're still watching the conversation on TOSTV Network, and as I always tell, you can be a part of the community of the conversation. Join the community across our social media platforms. It's TOSTV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. It's TOSTV Network, and of course, you can stream our website from news, stories, happenings across the world. It's www.tostvnetwork.com. Now, moving straight into the crux of the conversation today, and the discussion for today is quite interesting. So after declining assent to the Electoral Amendment Bill on 5 different occasions, President Muhammadu Buhari finally signed the Electoral Act Amendment Bill into law on Friday. Yes, and then so we're going to be looking at today, the newly signed Electoral Act. What next? It has been done. We've been waiting for that. It has been done now. So what next? Where do we go from here? And to join me in discussing that is Titi Lokpe Anifowoshi, Publicity Secretary of YPP and COO of Eagles Foundation for Humanity. Good morning and welcome to the show.
Hi, good morning.
All right, it's good to have you. So let's get into it. Personally, why do you think it took President Buhari 6 submissions and some push to actually assent to, the Electoral Act bill?
Well, politics, I guess.
Okay.
Because if you look at the provisions of this Electoral Amendment Act, no longer bill,
a bill,
it's actually one that reflects the progressiveness and the 21st century. I mean, how an election should actually be conducted. So, to the political class, it's a rough one. But to the ordinary Nigerian, it's a good one. So I feel like he probably took his time to give his assent after the pressure, because I mean, we're used to doing things the normal way, and this time around it's like giving utmost power to the people through a law with a legal backing. So that must have been really tough.
Okay. So there's some section of the new act that caught my fancy, but one of them it's section 84, and it says that anyone holding a political office must relinquish the position before they can be eligible to participate in the electoral process, either as a candidate or as a delegate. So if you are a president and you want to contest for maybe a re-election, you have to actually relinquish being president before contesting. what would be the implication of that in our elections going forward?
That's actually one of my favorites too.
Okay.
Actually, that's one of my favorites. But
Okay.
of course, I hope you know that President Buhari, while giving his assent, specifically stated that the National Assembly have to remove that clause.
Oh, so it's no longer there?
Well, if the National Assembly concedes to President Muhammadu Buhari's request,
okay,
so that particular clause 84 would no longer be there.
Oh.
Yeah. He expressly stated it when he gave his assent that it undermines the constitutional right of the persons, the politicians, the commissioners, this, that, in quote. He undermines their right to vote and be voted for.
Okay, so but if it stays, what would be the implication of that?
If it stays, it means that Nigeria is tilting towards proper democracy, where there won't be undue influence or duress on the system. However, I know there's been some sort of misconception with regards to this clause, but what it says actually is not the general election. It says that if you are an appointee, an SA, a commissioner, and what have you, you won't be a delegate during the primary elections within the party system. Yeah, that's what it says.
Candidate.
Yeah, you know, when they do indirect primaries, for example, it means that automatically political appointees are automatic delegates during primary elections. And so as a political appointee, you have access to power, you have access to security, you have access to resources. So you could actually, I mean, most of the times, they make use of that power to influence the process. So the purpose of that clause is actually to remove and put everybody on a level playing ground. Think about it. Someone who isn't an appointee, someone who isn't connected with any political person, but is a member of the party, wants to run, and then you are an SA, this and that, you have access to everybody and everything. You know, it doesn't place you guys on an even and equal ground. So that clause was or is supposed to make things more democratic and equitable. But Buhari says no. So we don't know.
Well, I hope it stays. I want to see how that plays out.
Time will tell.
Okay, but moving away from that, I mean, the bill has been signed into law. We have the Electoral Act now. Everyone has been clamoring for it. Civil society organizations went on protest for that. It's here. It's finally done. What's the step? What next? What next? What's the next step? What's the way forward from here?
Well, the way forward is, you know, actually, for the first time in history, this time is actually a beautiful one to be alive in Nigeria. I mean, let's not think about the hardship, but with regards to policies and all of that, because more than ever before, Nigerians are aware. Do you know that this Electoral Act was amended in 2007, in 2011, in 2017? It was amended, but it didn't get this kind of attention. So today we're discussing the clauses. Saturday I was on Spaces, the same thing, talking about the same law and what have you. So what it means is that Nigerians are now aware of what's up with not just the elections, but the rules guiding the elections. It also means that Nigerians would be able to call for more accountability and transparency. It also means that INEC that we've in the past been saying that it seems like they are not independent. I mean, from the provisions of the clause of the law, they seem to have a standing that they will be able to run without any interference. So what it means is that progressively we're moving towards that democracy we've all been craving for, that democracy of the people, by the people, and for the people. And also, I see after this law, a lot of people are now calling for more provisions like diaspora voting. People are now even saying, why do I have to travel to my town because I registered to vote in my town? Why can't I be in Lagos and vote for someone in? So we're moving. And I think that we are actually getting there day by day. So it's a good one for Nigeria.
Unfortunately, that's it for the conversation this morning. But I do hope that I can bring you back so that we can have a continuation of this conversation.
Definitely.
All right. Thank you so much for joining me on the conversation. And thank you for staying with me up until this time on the conversation. Do not forget that I'll be back here same time, same channel tomorrow. But before then, follow TOSTV Network across all social media platforms. It's TOSTV Network on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube, and of course to my website www.tostvnetwork.com for news and happenings from across the world. My name is Adesuwa Osayi. Thank you, and join me again tomorrow.